you're talking about the Chinese, the Americans. It seems like the Chinese, they are operating in an integrated fashion with all parts of the government, whether it's the military or whether it's their diplomatic people or whether it's the trade people. They're all coordinated to achieve a specific objective, and that's not necessarily the case here. Matter of fact, it is not the case here. I think in America, we've tended to balkanize everything. The State Department and the Defense Department sort of work together, but certainly nobody wanted to work with the Department of Commerce because that was about business. Instead, we're seeing a highly integrated approach, and you mentioned that it came up in the Obama administration. Are we getting better at getting interagency coordination to deal with China? I mean, are we up to the task to take this on?
I can't really tell. I would say that I think we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
You put your finger on one of the keys to China's success so far, that everybody reports back to the Central Committee, and they make sure that everything is orchestrated like the conductor of an orchestra. And we don't do that. We're very stovepiped. We're very independent. We coordinate from time to time, but it's not really being integrated as policy. And it needs to be public policy. It needs to be law. It needs to be diplomacy. It needs to be the politics, the military side of things, the economics. And I think I applaud what the administration has done so far. We need to get much better at it.
Part of this is because we have such powerful interest groups. When you have Wall Street groups or commercial groups of different kinds, they have power in the Commerce Department. The Commerce Department, in turn, articulates their objectives. We also have national security interests, and so those are the stovepipes that you're referring to. But I think that what we've seen in this most recent few months, particularly with the trade discussions, is that there are two powerful factions within the White House. One is Stephen Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, and then, of course, the Commerce Secretary.
Wilbur Ross.
Wilbur Ross,
Yeah.
on the one hand. And on the other hand are trade negotiators, Mr. Lighthizer.
Yeah, Bob Lighthizer and
Peter
Peter Navarro.
Navarro.
Yeah.
And they really have different views. Mnuchin and Ross want to see an expansion of trade and a kind of rebalancing of the trade relationship. Lighthizer and Navarro are concerned about intellectual property. They're concerned about structural issues. They want to have a halt to cyber intrusions and so on. And these are different sets of objectives. They're really different realms of the problem. So when we talk about one central authority directing priorities and establishing direction, we don't really have that. I mean, both of those groups are very strong and they're both very active.
Well, I'd consider both Wilbur Ross and Steve Mnuchin late to the game.
Yeah.
In the sense they show up, they've been in business, and I suffer from this a bit myself, having been in business, running things. You don't necessarily learn all the policy nuances and the levers that you need to have in a trade negotiation. And Lighthizer, by contrast, has been doing this for 40 years. Yeah. And he was deputy trade negotiator, in the Reagan White House, I believe. And so he has a comprehensive and systematic grasp of this. And Navarro, he's a prickly guy, but I think he's looking out for America.